Hello everyone, my name is Francesco and welcome to Data Structures. This course was created by the Stanford Crowd Course Initiative. In this video, we're going to cover everything you need to know to get started with arrays. Arrays are the most basic and most commonly used type of data structure. As such, most languages provide built-in implementations of arrays. They're of a fixed size, and they hold a sequence of elements of the exact same type. For example, in the real world, if we had a line of cups that all held various amounts of water, we could call this an array of water. Or similarly, pages that all held various amounts of text. You could call that an array of text. In programming, newly created arrays are filled with either primitive values, such as integers, or objects, such as strings. As a beginner, it's always a really good idea to try and visualize your data. So we're going to initialize two arrays, one on the left with integer values, and one on the right with string values. Starting on the left, as you can see, we're initializing our array using curly brackets. What this does is places those elements directly into the array once it's initialized. As you can see with our visualization, elements at index position 0 through 3 are already initialized with values. However, on the right, we are initializing our array with only the square brackets, giving it an array length. So when we actually visualize our data, it's initialized with null values. Getting and setting values in an array is as simple as using square brackets and specifying the index of the element which you're trying to get or set. As you can see on the left-hand side, we're using our myString array from the last slide and setting the element at the index position 0 equal to hello, as you can see in our visualization. On the right-hand side, we're using the same square brackets in order to access values and then print them out. The most common error that beginners encounter when using arrays is the index out of bounds error. So what does that mean? Let's say we have an array with n elements. Since we start indexing or counting our elements at our array position 0, we can access elements between positions 0 and n minus 1. If we try to access something outside of these bounds, we'll get an index of out of bounds error. This is a very common error to encounter, so try to keep an eye out for it early. Now let's get our hands dirty in some code. Iterating is one of the most commonly used operations when dealing with arrays. It involves simply stepping through each element in the array by the index position. In this example, we're using a for loop to do that, and the operation that we're doing is actually printing out each element. We're using the .length method, which is language specific, but it can be simply replaced with the size of the array, if known. Swapping elements is an operation used commonly with arrays, but also with most other data structures. It's generally used when sorting, and it requires a temporary variable in order to perform. As you can see in our example below, we're swapping the index positions 1 and 3 of our myInt array that we initialized in a previous slide. Why does it require a temporary variable? Well, let's say for example you have two cups, one with sweet tea and one with water. You always will require a third cup in order to switch the contents without combining them. Unlike the single-dimensional arrays we've been dealing with in the rest of this video, two-dimensional arrays have two index positions rather than one. This is what makes the array in two dimensions. As you can see by our index position illustration, 2D arrays are formed as grids and are still numbered from 0 to n minus 1. Initialization and declaration are a bit different than with single-dimensional arrays as well. So when should I use an array? Arrays are one of the most simple and commonly used data structures because of their efficiency in accessing information. They're useful in storing data of the same type, like test scores, information in a grid, like a tic-tac-toe game, or sequential data, like months in a year. And that concludes our video. This course was created as a part of the Stanford Crowd Course Initiative, the world's first massive online open coursework developed entirely by an online community. If you'd like to learn more about us or view more courses, visit crowdcourse.stanford.edu.